Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. For those of you who don't know, I started Grumpy Old Fart to express my political and social opinions and to say things that I felt needed to be said. Unfortunately, YouTube started giving me strikes. As a hedge against this happening, I've created backup YouTube channels, Grumpy Old Gamer and Grumpy Old Ufologist. I also created a channel called Grumpy Old Fart over on Rumble, a free speech alternative to YouTube. You can find all of my stuff there, including my political opinion and current events. The link to my Rumble channel, as well as links to let you order my books, are in the description of this video. If you enjoy my content, please like, subscribe, share, and comment. I welcome your comments, even if you disagree with me. Now, on with the video. Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. I'm doing an advanced Dungeons & Dragons advice video. This is not so much for the game master, but more for the players. And this is... My wife keeps telling me that I have no social couth. I'm uncouth. And that may very well be. But here's one thing I do know. Player etiquette. Dungeon masters expect certain things from their players. Mostly in-game, but sometimes players can get on a dungeon master's nerves, and this is some advice for the players. When you're sitting in somebody's game, there's a certain amount of respect that's needed. As a player, it is important to show respect for your dungeon master. I'm not saying you need to kowtow to him, kiss his ass on every word that he utters, but show some respect. After all, he's gone to the time and trouble to create the adventure. He's taken time out to research stuff, create maps, create a world for you to play in. Show him a little bit of respect. I'm not, again, don't kiss his ass, but show him some respect. Excuse me, I'm still getting over that cold. If you have a complaint or a problem with the game, feel free to bring it up, but don't get angry or belligerent. Many times I've had players who didn't understand why certain NPCs acted the way they did, or why certain events happened. Usually through the course of the game, new information becomes clear, which would explain it. The fact that the player realized something wasn't right means they are on the ball. Now, if you really think the dungeon master is cheating you, talk to him in private. Be respectful, but talk to him in private, because sometimes things happen and the dungeon master doesn't realize it. After all, we're only human. Everybody, including the dungeon master, we're only human. And there's a lot of moving parts to keep track of when you're running a game. So if you feel you've been cheated, or if you feel something's not right, bring it up to him. It's okay. Just be respectful. And because you notice things, that means you're paying attention. That's a good thing. Which brings me to my next point. Pay attention. As a dungeon master, there's nothing more aggravating, especially during an initiatives, your combat. You're going down the initiatives. When you ask a player, okay, what are you doing? And the player basically the reply is, what's going on? That's just irritating. When that happens, that's a clear indicator that they weren't paying attention. And my trademark response is, go back to sleep, and then I go on to the next player. If I'm counting down initiatives, 10, 9, 8, 5, get down to 5. Okay, what are you doing? The guy says, what's going on? All right, go back to sleep. 4s, and I just go on. I ain't got time for that shit. Turn off your phone, your music, whatever the hell you're doing. Close the book that you're reading. Stop gabbing with the other player. Stop, daydreaming, whatever. Pay attention. Turn off your phones. Nothing is more, the not paying attention is more aggravating, I think. But during the course of the game, nobody wants to hear your phone go off. Nobody cares what your ringtones are. And if your phone is that important, walk away from the game, use it, and then come back. And turn it off when you come back. And if you're listening to your music, with your iPod or whatever, you're not paying attention. That's that simple. If you want music in the background for everybody to hear, turn it down low so it doesn't bother the game. Games are generally held at a location of the dungeon master's choice. Respect the location and the choice. Don't get upset if it's not a location you would choose. When you run a game, you can choose the location you would choose. And then the Dungeon Master, if he's your player, he has to abide by those choices. See what I'm saying? Laughing and joking around is great as long as you pay attention. If you provide your own snacks, that's great. If you do not, don't make a pig of yourself. Make sure there's plenty to go around. As a dungeon master, I would usually make dinner for my players, and I turned it into kind of a social gathering, and everybody had plenty, and that was all great. Some dungeon masters don't have that option for whatever reason. So, if for example, if the dungeon master is stuck playing at somebody else's house, he doesn't have that option. So keep that in mind. If you're going to bring snacks, that's great. If there's communal snacks, share it. Make sure everybody has plenty. Come prepared. Be ready to go at game time. If you regularly show up 10 to 20 minutes late without your character and needing to borrow dice and pencils, etc., you're taking away from the gaming experience of the other players. Have your character updated and ready to play before you arrive. Whenever I was late to a game, it was usually work-related, and I tried to slip in with as little disturbance as possible. Now, you will not be able to be on time for every game. It's just not possible. The world turns. You're human. Your humanity gets in the way. Work, life, family, emergencies get in the way. Everything will get in the way. You will not be able to be there on time for every game. We understand that. When you do show up late, slip in undisturbed. Try to make as few waves as possible. Say, hey, how's it going? Boom. And you sit down and you do your thing. Be prepared when you do arrive. Know your character and its abilities. Do not look up stuff on your turn. Do that on someone else's turn. But do so while paying attention. Play your character. Know your backstory and stick to it. It's a role-playing game. If your character is a brainless warmonger, then hack and slash is okay. If your character has 3 brain cells, then he will probably think. Thinking characters all act differently. They all have their own motivations. Play them accordingly. This is a big one for me. Do not cheat. My friend Gerald is annoying because he demands that 2 other players witness each and every roll he makes. He's annoying to the other players. I love him playing in my game because he's guaranteed that he's not cheating because he gets people to witness his rolls. If you have to cheat, don't play. Check out my video on their honor. Do not distract the dungeon master or the other players with stuff outside the game. We are there to play. If you want to talk to us about a movie or a TV show you saw, do it before or after the game. Several of my players years ago went out to see a movie, and it was a good movie, and they would not shut up during the game. They just kept talking about it. Hey, remember when he did this? Remember that happened? That was cool. Blah, 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 blah. I stopped the game. I said, go ahead and get that out of your system, and then we'll continue. When that didn't work, and they were still talking about it when we started back up, I called the game for the night, let them go do their thing. Next week we started fresh, and everything was fine. Talking about other stuff from outside the game while you're playing is a distraction for the other players. It's just the way it is. Excuse me. Communication between players about the game is essential. Be positive whenever possible. We're all there to have fun. Try not to argue. I know sometimes this can be difficult, but remember, we're all there to have fun. Continually arguing. Everybody gets into arguments. We're all human. We're all different. Everybody gets into an argument once in a while. Just don't make a habit of it. You know what I'm saying? And if you're going to argue, make sure there's a reason. Otherwise, it's just pointless. Be a good sport. If your character dies, it's a piece of paper. You can make up another one. If you lose a battle, remember that other people lost as well, and it will probably happen again. If another player's character dies, be sympathetic. Remember, we're there to have fun, and your player character might be next. Remember that everyone makes mistakes. The guy who lights a torch so he can see may not realize, or may not have may have had a brain fart. Who knows? But he didn't realize that the non-humans in the group are probably using their infravision and are now temporarily blinded. These things happen. Don't get angry. Laugh it out. It's part of the game. Help the less experienced players when you can. Remember to teach and correct. Don't criticize. You remember, you were new once too, okay? The game needs new players. And the quickest way to lose new players is for the more experienced players to denigrate, criticize, or make fun of them. Nobody likes to be made fun of. Nobody. There are people who can take a joke and it's cool. Some people can't. So if somebody does something stupid in the game because they're new and inexperienced, no, don't do that. Look, here, this is better, and we, teach. Don't criticize. Always, always, always. This is one thing that I love about Dungeons and Dragons for the players to do. Always try to outthink your dungeon master. Remember, when you outthink your dungeon master, if he's worth his salt, he will take pride in your efforts and your success. He's there to create an adventure for you, a challenge for you to overcome. When you do that, he has succeeded. When you rub his nose in it, any dungeon master worthy of the title will consider it the champagne of victory. So, yeah, if you can beat the dungeon master and rub his nose in it, most dungeon masters are quite happy with that. And they'll laugh right along with you. Because that's part of the game. That's their job, is to make sure you're having fun. And if you're having fun, they've succeeded. You see what I'm saying? These are a few, and there's other etiquette rules probably, but those are the big ones in my opinion. Anybody who watches this video, if you could think of some more, stick them down in the comments. I'm sure other people would be glad to read them. The most important thing about Dungeons and Dragons is to have fun. And with these etiquette rules that I've laid out, for the most part, it makes sure everybody has fun. Hope this finds everybody well. You folks have a good day. God bless one and all.